Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Darren Sealy. Darren, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Josh?
I'm very, very well. Thank you very much. First of all, I mean, for those who don't know about yourself, heavyweight, recently had your first fight at York Hall. Just tell us about how you got into the game, first of all.
Yeah, so I started in the white collar scene in 2019. And I really just started because I lost my dad about 18 months prior to that. And I just had a lot of negative energy and, just grieving. So just wanted to sort of use that energy and harness it in something positive. Ended up doing a white collar fight, loved it. And the more I trained, the more I loved it and just wanted to progress and see how far I could take it. So I had a few white collar fights, then did an amateur season last season. And then recently turned pro in November last year. Yeah.
Initially for you, was it just about enjoyment, I guess, just having something else to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play basketball at a professional level. So I've kind of always been used to having a sport in my life. And basketball and boxing have always been my favorite sports. So for me, it was an easy transition into another sport. But obviously, as you know, boxing is very internal. You're going from a team sport to probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest sport in the world. So I knew I had to really dedicate myself to it. No matter how enjoyable it is, you have to really, really be dedicated and, and want to do it for your own reasons, not just to, I don't know, show off or something like that. But for me, it was very internal, and it's made me a better person. I wouldn't say I'm not the man. I wouldn't be here today without boxing.
And how was the switch in training? Obviously, you say you were involved in basketball before this. Was it more demanding than you thought it would be? What was the experience like in switching between the two?
I wouldn't say it's more demanding than I thought it'd be. I knew it would be demanding. I just think it was more mentally taxing because, when you're getting hit in the face, you're sparring an untold number of rounds. That's different to a non-contact sport. So there's elements that I wasn't aware of, obviously, until you're involved in it. And the professional side is very much a business alongside the training. So it's just juggling different hats, with the small hall shows, just making sure we're prepared for everything that comes with that. But I'd say the transition was relatively easy because I'm used to training at, such a high frequency. But in terms of the level and the intensity of training, boxing for me is hands down the hardest thing I've ever done, and I love it. Absolutely.
We have to reflect on your first fight at York Hall not so long ago against Phil Williams. Unfortunately, resulted in a defeat for yourself. What are your initial sort of reflections on how that went and what you gained from it?
Yeah. So for me, obviously, that old saying, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. I wouldn't say I was very happy at the time. I just wasn't mentally in a good place. And I think that I was down on myself going into the fight. I went in there sort of half injured. I had a bad rib from a really tough spar about 3 weeks prior at Matchroom. So I was sparring one of their guys, one of their elite guys, Jordan, and he pretty much just fractured my rib. So great spar, but I knew that I was going in there pretty much like not 100%. So physically not 100, mentally I definitely wasn't in the right place because my debut was supposed to be in November, and it got cancelled because the license came back pretty late from my medical. So my camp for debut was, I'd say, in all, with taking off Christmas for a couple of weeks, about 5 months. So I was really sort of wringing the sponge dry, probably training a little bit too much here, there, and everywhere in terms of the areas that we were training because we didn't have a gym as a base. So I just didn't really feel good within myself. And then my frequency or intensity when I was training wasn't very high. So it was almost like, when you can put in more, and I wasn't necessarily doing that. We weren't getting the types of spars that we're getting now. So with all of that encompassing going in the ring, I probably shouldn't have got in at the time, but you live and learn. Nobody ever wants to lose their debut, obviously, but it's one of those things where I took a lot of lessons from it, and I knew intrinsically what I have to do for myself to be ready for those types of challenges. Yeah.
People often say you learn more from a defeat, and it seems what you've said there, that's been exactly the case with yourself. Yeah. Is it a case of you'll be going back in there, whether it's with the same opponent or a different one, you'll have so many more lessons under the belt?
Yeah, literally. I think we fought on the Saturday, March 25th, and the Sunday I'm calling the promoter saying, yeah, let's run it back. The exact same guy. You know, I kind of want to avenge that defeat. I feel like I beat myself. No disrespect to him, but I didn't feel his level was where I know I can be and where I'm at currently. So it was just one of those things where it's like, you know what you need to do, Darren. Just go and do it. So same opponent in 2.5 weeks, and yeah, we'll deal with that. Definitely, we'll deal with that.
You mentioned sparring. Are you on about Jordan Thompson with the sparring?
Yeah. So we spar Jordan. We spar in Demsey quite frequently at Matchroom. They're both great guys. Obviously, very, very high level spars. So I love going down there. We sparred Jamie TKV at Ben Davison's gym. So, I mean, I live in South London, but it seems I spend more time in Essex. So, because all those gyms are up there. So, yeah, it's worth the travel. You know, you learn so much from those types of spars, and the frequency as well. You get out what you put in. So I know if I'm going in there and into the ring and handling myself with those types of boys who are, you know, undefeated, who have had numbers of fights in the double digits and world ranked, then for me, I should be dealing with guys who are considered a lower level. You know, I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not about that. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing in training, and the spars are going really well. Because we're frequently sparring. We're not just going once and they're like, throw us away. We get invited back. So, you know, we're doing well.
Yeah, is that really an important part of it for you, that you go in and you really show what you can do against these guys? Because if you put up a good fight against them in the spars, then you're going to be invited back and you're going to be sparring maybe even some bigger names in the months to come.
Yeah, exactly. It's about making a good account for yourself, obviously, you know, going in there, showing respect. We're obviously going in, it's their gym. So, you know, you have to go in and go in with confidence and not let anybody take the mick. They don't anyway. They definitely don't do that. You know, I love those types of spars where it's competitive, but nobody's trying to, you know, chop each other's heads off. Because we're all there for a reason, you know. But for me, more importantly than that, it's about me knowing within myself that I can handle those types of boxes and those types of rounds, because, you know, it's 6-8 rounds, minimal rest, and maximal output. So I love that. That's what I'm here for.
You mentioned Demsey McKean there. He's obviously been touted to possibly fight Tyson Fury in the summer. From what you've seen from Demsey, obviously Tyson is the highest level you can get in heavyweight boxing. Has he got the levels to compete with Tyson?
Absolutely, without question. From what I've seen and experienced in the spars and what I've seen in his fights, absolutely. I think he's going to give problems to anybody. I'm very tall. I'm 6'9", so I'm Tyson Fury's height, but Dempsey's 6'7", you know, so we have very good challenging spars, and it's like a chess match. Obviously he's southpaw, I'm orthodox, but I love that, and he's given me a lot of respect and filled me with a lot of confidence. So I have a lot of time for Demsey, but in terms of his talent and skills, I think he is very, very, very good and very underrated. A lot of people don't give him the respect that I think he deserves, which is a shame, but that's boxing.
Yeah, it certainly is. Boxing's a cruel sport, and I did look down the BoxRec rankings, and you are second lowest in the British rankings for heavyweights. Is that a motivational factor for you? You look at that and you go, that's not reflecting of what I can do. And is that a motivational factor for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely motivational. And I think on these small hall shows, obviously, once you get the support and you're able to sell the tickets, then you can go and show people what you're made of. You know, so I know that there's a business side to it, but the more opportunities I have to do these spars, to get in with these types of fighters, to meet coaches and people know my name, I believe that we're going to be able to get into the ring much more. But the more fights, the better. You know, I'm pretty much always in camp. I don't feel the need to take huge amounts of rests off. Obviously with the debut not going where we how we wanted it to go, I think I might have taken 2 days off and we're straight back in the gym working to the next day. You know, but it's consistent. It's consistent. And I think, like you said, it's very motivational because nobody wants to be bottom of anything. So for me, it's about proving it to them. But I know, and my coach know, and my support system know that, yeah, we've got a lot to show and a lot to prove.
Oh yeah, fingers crossed in a couple of weeks' time in the rematch, and best of luck moving forward, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you.